There's something I find myself thinking about quite often. It's one of those ideas that sounds almost poetic at first, romantic even. It sits there in songs and films and in the quiet moments when we're alone with our regrets. It's the idea that we could go back, that time is somehow reversible, that if we just had the right machine, the right technology, the right understanding, we could return to yesterday, to last year, to the moment before everything went wrong. We could fix our mistakes. We could say the things we didn't say. We could save the people we lost. It's spoken about now as if it's just a matter of time before we crack the code. Physicists talk about closed time-like curves. Engineers fantasize about wormholes. Science fiction has made it seem inevitable, just another frontier to conquer. We see the movies with their sleek time machines. We see the paradoxes resolved with clever writing. We see the protagonist stepping out of the device into a world where everything is different, where history has been rewritten, where the future is malleable like clay. Everyone seems to believe that time travel is theoretically possible. It feels like a promise written into the fabric of reality itself. And on the surface, it sounds almost reasonable, like a natural extension of what we already know. Einstein showed us that time is relative, that it bends, that it stretches. We've seen clocks run slower on satellites. We've measured time dilation. First we understood space, then we understood space-time. So surely the next step is to master it completely, to move through time as easily as we move through space. But here is what fascinates me as a physicist, and it's something that troubles me deeply as a human being. When you actually look at the mathematics, when you strip away the dramatic music and the special effects, when you sit down with the fundamental laws of thermodynamics, you begin to realize that this is not just difficult, it is not just an engineering challenge, it may be the most fundamental impossibility in all of physics, more impossible than faster than light travel, more impossible than perpetual motion machines. Because going backward in time doesn't just violate our technology, it violates the deepest law of the universe itself. And I want to be very careful with my language here. When I say impossible, I don't mean it's expensive. Time travel would be expensive, certainly. And I don't mean it requires exotic materials, though it would require those too. I mean impossible in a deeper, more fundamental sense. Impossible in the sense that the arrow of time is written into every atom, every particle, every moment of existence. Impossible in the sense that entropy, the second law of thermodynamics, is the closest thing we have to an absolute truth. And that truth says simply and devastatingly, you cannot go back, not now, not ever. I believe that humans will never travel backward in time, not in the way that matters, not in any way at all. And the reason isn't a lack of ingenuity, it's not a lack of resources, it's because of something so fundamental, so deeply embedded in the structure of reality that to violate it would be to unmake the universe itself. To understand why, we have to start with what time actually is. We have to start with the illusion of the moment. When you experience time, it feels like a river. You are being carried forward from the past, through the present, into the future. It feels like motion. It feels like flow. But this feeling, this sensation of time passing, is not a property of time itself. It is a property of consciousness. It is an artifact of memory and anticipation. It is the way your brain processes the sequence of events. In physics, time is simply a coordinate, like a dimension of space. It's a label we put on events to say when they happened. And according to Einstein's relativity, there is no universal now. There is no single present moment that exists for everyone. What is now for you might be the past for someone moving at high speed. Time is local, it is personal, it is relative. And yet there is something that isn't relative. There is something that points in one direction only, that never reverses, that never hesitates, and that thing is entropy. Let me tell you about entropy because it is the most important concept in all of physics, and yet it's the one we understand the least intuitively. We're taught in school that entropy is disorder. That's the usual definition. A messy room has high entropy. A tidy room has low entropy, but that's not quite right. It's too vague, too imprecise. Entropy is more accurately described as the number of ways a system can be arranged while still looking the same from the outside. It's about microstates and macrostates. Let me give you an example. Imagine you have a box with 100 coins in it. If all the coins are showing heads, that's one specific arrangement. There is only one way to have all heads. But if 50 coins show heads and 50 show tails, there are billions upon billions of different arrangements that give you that same 50-50 result. The 50-50 state has much higher entropy because there are so many more ways to achieve it. Now here is the critical part. If you shake that box, if you add energy, the coins will flip randomly, and overwhelmingly, probabilistically, you will move from the low entropy all-head state toward the high entropy mixed state. Not because there's a law that says coins prefer to be mixed, but because there are simply more ways to be mixed than to be ordered. The universe is constantly exploring all possible configurations, and the high entropy configurations are vastly, vastly more numerous. This is the second law of thermodynamics. In a closed system, entropy always increases, always. It never decreases. Disorder grows, structure crumbles, patterns dissolve into randomness. And this law is not like other laws of physics. It's not something we derived from first principles. It's statistical, it's probabilistic. But its probability is so overwhelmingly certain that to see it violated, to see entropy spontaneously decrease, would be like seeing all the air molecules in a room suddenly decide to congregate in one corner, leaving you to suffocate in a vacuum on the other side. It could happen. The laws of physics don't forbid it, but the odds are so astronomically small that it has never happened, will never happen in the entire history of the universe. And here is the profound thing, the thing that should make you stop and stare at the walls. The second law of thermodynamics is the only law of physics that distinguishes between past and future. It is the only thing that gives time a direction, an arrow. All the other laws, Newton's laws, Maxwell's equations, even Einstein's relativity, they are time symmetric. You can run them backward and they still work. A planet orbiting the sun looks the same whether you play the film forward or in reverse. But entropy only increases. It only goes one way. And that one-way flow is what we call time. So when you ask, why can't we go back in time? You are really asking, why can't we decrease the entropy of the universe? And the answer is that you can't, not without expending even more energy, not without increasing entropy somewhere else by an even greater amount. You are trapped inside the arrow. You are riding the wave of increasing entropy from the low entropy Big Bang toward the high entropy heat death of the cosmos, and you cannot get off. But surely, the optimists say, surely there are loopholes. Surely general relativity allows for time travel, closed time-like curves, wormholes, Alcubierre drives. I've read the papers, I've seen the mathematics. And yes, technically, mathematically, the equations of general relativity do permit solutions where space-time curves back on itself, where you could theoretically travel into your own past. But here is what those papers don't emphasize, what gets lost in the excitement of the possibility. Every single one of those solutions requires something that we have never seen, never detected, and quite possibly does not exist. They require negative energy. They require exotic matter with negative mass. They require space-time to be bent in ways that may not be physically realizable. Let me explain. A wormhole, a shortcut through space-time, is a beautiful mathematical object. You connect 2 points in space, 2 points in time, and you create a tunnel. You step into one end and emerge from the other, potentially in the past. But to keep that tunnel open, to prevent it from collapsing instantly into a black hole, you need to line the throat of the wormhole with exotic matter. Matter that has negative energy density, matter that pushes space-time apart instead of pulling it together. We have never found such matter. We don't know if it exists. The closest thing we have is the Casimir effect, a quantum phenomenon where two metal plates placed very close together in a vacuum experience a tiny attractive force because they exclude certain wavelengths of virtual particles. Some physicists interpret this as negative energy, but it's incredibly weak and incredibly localized. To build a wormhole large enough for a human being, you would need amounts of negative energy so vast that it might exceed the total energy content of the observable universe. And even if you could somehow gather this exotic matter, even if you could stabilize a wormhole, you run into another problem, the chronology protection conjecture. This is Stephen Hawking's idea, not a proven theorem, but a deeply suspicious pattern in the mathematics. Every time you try to create a time machine, every time you try to close a loop in time, quantum effects seem to conspire to blow up your machine. Virtual particles circulating around the loop build up infinite energy. Space-time itself becomes unstable. The universe seems to have a built-in defense mechanism against time travel. It's as if the laws of physics are saying, no, you cannot do this. So when we put all this together, the need for exotic matter that may not exist, the quantum instabilities, the chronology protection, we see that time travel is not just hard, it's forbidden. The universe has closed the door. But there is something even deeper here, something that goes beyond the engineering impossibilities. And it's about causality itself, about the logical structure of reality. Think about what it would mean to go back in time. Really think about it. You step into your time machine. You travel to last Tuesday. You prevent an event from happening. Let's say you stop yourself from breaking a vase. Now, in the timeline you came from, the vase was broken. That broken vase was part of your motivation for building the time machine. But now, in the new timeline, the vase was never broken. So why did you build the machine? What motivated you? This is the grandfather paradox in its most famous form. You go back and prevent your own birth. But if you were never born, you never went back. So you were born, so you did go back, so you weren't born. It's a logical loop, a contradiction in terms, and the universe does not permit contradictions. Logic is not just a human invention, it is the substrate of existence itself. If A is true, then not A cannot also be true. This is not a suggestion. This is a requirement for reality to be coherent. Some people try to resolve this with the many worlds interpretation. They say, fine, when you go back and change the past, you don't change your past. You create a new timeline, a branching universe. In your original timeline, the vase was broken. In the new timeline, it wasn't. Both exist. Problem solved. But this doesn't solve the problem. It just relocates it. Because now you're not traveling through time. You're traveling between parallel universes. And that's a different thing entirely. You're not going back to your past. You're going sideways to someone else's past. It's not time travel, it's dimension travel. And more importantly, it still doesn't help you because the you that experienced the broken vase, the you with regrets, that person still exists in the original timeline. You haven't fixed anything. You've just created a new version of yourself in a new universe. The old you is still trapped in the old timeline, still grieving, still broken. So even if many worlds is true, even if branching timelines exist, time travel doesn't give you what you want. It doesn't let you undo. It doesn't let you fix. It just lets you run away to a different version of reality, leaving your original self behind to suffer. And this brings me to the philosophical core of why we can't go back. It's not just about entropy. It's not just about exotic matter. It's about identity, about memory, about what it means to be a conscious being embedded in time. You are not a thing. You are a process. You are a pattern of matter and energy that persists through time by constantly changing, constantly adapting. Every second, your cells are dying and being replaced. Every moment, your neurons are firing in new configurations. The you of 10 years ago is not the same as the you of today. You share memories, yes. You share a continuous thread of identity, but you are not the same physical entity. And that thread of identity, that sense of self, is built on causality. It is built on the fact that effects follow causes, that the past is fixed and the future is open. If you could go back, if you could change what has already happened, you would sever that thread. You would break the causal chain that makes you you. The person who arrives in the past would not be the same person who left the future, because the experiences that shaped them would no longer exist. This is the real impossibility, not the physics, though the physics is damning enough, but the metaphysics, the logical impossibility of being a time traveler. You cannot be a thing that exists outside of causality, because causality is what existence means. On Earth, we are coddled. We are protected. We live inside the arrow of time, and it carries us forward gently, predictably. We can remember the past. We can anticipate the future. We can plan. We can regret. We can hope. And all of that is possible only because entropy increases, only because time flows in one direction, only because the universe has a structure. When you imagine time travel, you are imagining stepping outside that structure. You are imagining being free of the arrow. But the arrow is not a constraint. It is the thing that makes freedom possible. Without it, without causality, without the distinction between past and future, there is no such thing as choice. There is no such thing as consequence. There is no such thing as meaning. We often talk about the grandfather paradox as if it's a puzzle to be solved. But it's not a puzzle. It's a warning. It's the universe telling us that consistency matters, that logic matters, that the structure of time is not optional. You cannot have consciousness without memory. You cannot have memory without a past that is fixed. And you cannot have a fixed past if you can go back and change it. So when we ask, will we ever travel backward in time? We are asking the wrong question. The right question is, would we want to live in a universe where time travel was possible? Because that universe would be incoherent. It would be a nightmare of contradictions. Every moment would be provisional. Every choice would be undoable. Nothing would matter because nothing would be real. You could go back and prevent the Holocaust, but then someone else could go back and prevent you from preventing it. History would be a battleground of time travelers, each one trying to reshape reality to their preference. There would be no shared reality, no common ground, no truth. The impossibility of time travel is not a limitation, it is a gift. It is what makes the present moment sacred. It is what gives weight to our decisions. When you know that you cannot go back, that the words you say and the actions you take are permanent, written into the fabric of the universe forever, you treat those words and actions differently. You treat them with care. And there is something beautiful in that, something profound. We are not cursed by the arrow of time. We are defined by it. Our mortality, our finitude, our inability to undo the past, these are not flaws in the design. They are the design. They are what make love meaningful, what make courage possible, what make art worth creating. I realize that everything I have said so far might sound deeply pessimistic. It might sound like I am taking away hope, dismantling dreams, and I know the reaction to this. People will say, Brian, you are being too rigid. You are lacking imagination. Science fiction has given us time travel. Surely future physics will find a way. But I want you to understand something. I am not being pessimistic. I am being honest. And honesty, real honesty about the structure of the universe, is not depressing. It is clarifying. Because once you accept that you cannot go back, once you truly deeply accept that the past is gone and the future is unwritten, you stop wasting your energy on fantasies of undoing. You stop living in regret and you start living in the present. The obsession with time travel is, at its core, an obsession with escape. It is the desire to run away from consequences, to avoid responsibility, to have infinite second chances. But growth, maturity, wisdom, These things only come when you accept that your choices matter, that you get one life, one timeline, one chance to be the person you want to be. And here is the thing that people don't talk about. Even if time travel were possible, even if you could go back, it wouldn't help, because the you that goes back is not the same you that made the mistake. The you that goes back has the knowledge, the experience, the regret. You are wiser now, you are different. So, of course, you would make a different choice. But the original you, the you that existed in that moment, did not have that wisdom. They did the best they could with what they knew. Going back doesn't erase that, it doesn't fix it. It just creates a new you with a different story. What you actually want is not to change the past. What you want is to forgive yourself for it. And you can do that right here, right now, without a machine, without violating entropy, without breaking causality. So where does this leave us? We have looked at the statistics of entropy. We have looked at the mathematics of general relativity. We have looked at the logical structure of causality. And everywhere we turn, we see the same answer. Time travel is not just difficult, it is forbidden. The universe does not permit it. The laws of physics do not allow it. Logic itself rejects it. But there is a deeper reason why I believe we will never travel backward in time. And it is not about physics. It is not about mathematics. It is about wisdom. Why do we want to go back? Is it really to change history, or is it because we cannot accept impermanence? I think if we are honest, it is because we are afraid. We are afraid of loss. We are afraid of death. We are afraid that our mistakes define us. We look at the past and we see all the ways we failed, all the people we hurt, all the opportunities we missed. And we think, if only we could go back, if only we could have a do-over. But this is a childish wish. It is the wish of a person who has not yet learned that failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of success. That mistakes are not disasters. They are lessons. That loss is not meaningless. It is the price we pay for having had something worth losing. The universe, in its deep wisdom, does not give us time travel. It gives us something better. It gives us the present moment. It gives us the ability to learn, to grow, to change, not by erasing the past, but by integrating it, by accepting it, by building on it. Every moment, every second, you are traveling through time. You are moving forward at 1 second per second. That is the only speed at which time travel is possible. And it is enough. It is more than enough, because the present moment contains everything you need. It contains your memories of the past and your hopes for the future. It contains the people you love and the work you care about. It contains the sky and the trees and the feel of air on your skin. And if you can be fully present in this moment, if you can stop yearning for the past or worrying about the future, if you can simply be here, now, in this one unrepeatable instant, then you don't need a time machine, because you already have the only thing that time travel was supposed to give you. You have the ability to live without regret. This is not a defeat. This is liberation. It is the moment we stop being children who think we can rewrite the story and become adults who take responsibility for the story we are writing right now. So when people ask me, will we ever travel backward in time? I tell them no. Not because I lack imagination, not because I am pessimistic, but because I understand what the universe is trying to teach us. That the arrow of time is not a prison, it is a path. That entropy is not decay, it is transformation. That the inability to go back is not a curse, it is the thing that makes going forward meaningful. We are earthlings, we are creatures of time, we are born, we live, we die. And in between, we have this extraordinary gift. We have consciousness. We have the ability to experience the universe, to understand it, to marvel at it. And all of that is possible only because we are embedded in time, only because we move forward, only because the past is gone and the future is coming. Let us stop looking backward. Let us stop dreaming of machines that will take us to yesterday. Let us instead look at today, at this moment, at the miraculous fact that we are here, that we are alive, that we are part of the great unfolding of entropy from the Big Bang to the heat death, We are not separate from the universe. We are how the universe experiences itself. And if we can accept that, if we can truly deeply embrace our place in the flow of time, then we can stop looking for salvation in the past and start creating it right here, right now. We can build a life that matters, a life that is kind, a life that is in harmony with the laws of this universe. That is a harder challenge than building a time machine. Quantum mechanics is easy, relativity is predictable, acceptance is hard, presence is hard, living without regret is hard. But that is the mission, that is the journey worth taking, not backward, forward, always forward. So let us look at the past with gratitude, not regret. Let us honor what was without clinging to it. Let us remember that every moment we have lived has brought us to this moment. And this moment right now is the only moment we have ever truly had. It is the only moment we will ever have. The arrow of time points in one direction, and that direction is forward, into the unknown, into the new, into the next breath, the next heartbeat, the next second of this improbable, temporary, utterly precious existence. We are not going back, and that is not a tragedy. That is the greatest gift the universe has ever given us, the gift of the present, the gift of now, the gift of this one, unrepeatable, beautiful moment. And it is enough. It has always been enough.